Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to church today. It's great to see you all. My name is TJ. I'm the worship arts director here at the church. And just to give you a couple of heads ups today, when you came in on the little table, there were connection cards. We encourage you to grab those and fill them out. Let us know you're here today. That's not just for new people. That's for everyone. That's how we know how many people are coming, who to reach out to, how to know how many people to plan for, all of those kind of things. So make sure you're filling out your connection cards to let us know who that you're here and who you brought with you. Also, if you want more information about our church, we have an information desk out in the front area, so after service, I encourage you to go and check that out. We're actually going to collect our offering during the first song today. So, if you have connection cards, prayer cards, offering, all of that, it's not going to be until about halfway through the song, so you got some time there. But just look for that. The ushers will be coming down about halfway through, and I'll give you all a vocal cue there. Also know that if you don't put your offering in the basket when it comes around, that's totally fine. We have offering boxes on the way out of all the doors, whether they're on the inside or the outside. You can put your offering, your prayer cards, you can put connection cards all in there if that works better for you as well. Excuse me. Today we are going to have some worship. We're going to have a message, a little more worship, and we're going to have a very specific prayer at the end for the things that are going on over in Ukraine and Russia right now. So, to start off this morning, I know there's a lot of stuff. I invite you to stand, and we are going to open with some worship together. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you. I worship you. 'Cause you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are here, touching every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, healing every heart. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, turning lives around. I worship you. I worship you. You are here, mending every heart. I worship you. Yeah, I worship you. Lord, you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. Oh my God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. Oh my God, that is who you are. Sing that again. Yeah, you are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. Oh my God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, this time, we'll have the ushers come and take the offering. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Yeah, you are. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. Oh my God, that is who you are. 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 Amen. I hope you know him as those titles today. And if you don't, I pray you stick around, hear this message, and that you could come to know God as all of those things in your life. You may be seated. Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome to the Eternal Elevator. Looks like you're going up today.
Oh, I am really excited. I have waited for this day for so long. I just can't wait to see what's in store for me when I arrive.
Well, I guess you better head inside so we can get this elevator moving.
Can you answer a question for me first? I mean, you probably get a million questions a day, but I kind of just thought of this one.
Yeah, I do get a lot of questions, but that's what I'm here for. You probably know more than what you think you do.
Well, I didn't really think I'd be here today when I got up and got dressed this morning. And let's face it, I kind of look like I should be on the show What Not to Wear. Am I going to be wearing this for all eternity? I mean, oh my goodness. Will my friends and family see me wearing this outfit?
You'll be happy to know that you will not have to wear that for eternity. Surprisingly, you won't have to wear any of your clothes. So no matter what you're wearing when you show up here, you'll turn those in when you arrive.
Great. I mean, wait a minute. I'm not going to be wearing any clothing? Oh, I knew I shouldn't have eaten all those cookies.
No, you'll have clothes. It'll be the most amazing robes that you've ever seen. Like, think back when the snow first falls and the morning sun is glistening like diamonds, how it's the most white and clean and pure white that you've ever seen. That's the kind of robes that you're going to get when you get up there.
Oh, I am so excited. Well, it sounds like we better get in and get started. And thanks for taking time to answer my question.
No problem. Are we all set? Going up.
Amen. Well, I think that answers the fashion question, if you had one, about heaven, right? What am I going to be wearing? I'm excited to start this series. Last night, we had about maybe 40 people gathered, and we watched the movie Heaven is for Real, based on the true story of Colton and his father, how Colton experienced what we're going to describe to you today as the third heaven. As we begin this series, Heaven, the Real Thing, is the title of today's message, and that's kind of where I want to start with the series. As we do this, you might have, I know probably most of you probably don't have a checkbook or anything, but you might just use like your debit card or something. But we do have some books that we are going to be displaying, and they're for sale for this series. There's Randy Alcorn's book, Heaven. There's Lee Strobel's book, The Case for Heaven. And then there's some little smaller copies. And if you go by, you can check those books out. You can even place an order. And you might look at the price on the books, and you might say, well, man, I could get that for way cheaper. But I just want to let you know that all the money, the extra profit that we make off the sales of the books are going to go into generating our bookstore. And the goal is to open that bookstore in a small way by April 3rd. That's the task force's purpose and their goal. And so April 3rd is kind of our official grand opening celebration. And I just learned last week that our Bishop Gregory Palmer, is going to be amongst us. He's going to preach. He's going to share communion as we do communion on that Sunday, the first Sunday of April. So it's a really exciting time. So it's really exciting to see the bookstore start coming to life. And so if you do purchase something out of the bookstore, know that the profits go right back into the church to help try to get the bookstore up and running. But there are all kinds of resources that we are going to be getting in, and we do have in. And as we start this series, this is a nice little pocket book. I'm using this as one of my resources as I prepared for this series. It's a nice little handy pocket book that answers your every need. God's answers your every need. So it's got all kinds of things. It's got all kinds of questions. And the questions relate to Scripture. What will it mean to see God in heaven? Revelation 22, 3 through 4. The throne of God and of the Lamb will be there, and his servants will worship him, and they will see his face. What's it going to mean to actually see God? Isn't that going to be amazing? What's it going to be like when we meet Jesus? Isn't that going to be an awesome thought? So if you're sitting in a chair, if you reach down below the chair, and if you have a paper star in your chair, this is your copy. Come see me at the guest table. If you are the person that has that silver star under your chair, paper copy of it, come see me at the guest table, and I will give you this copy. It should be pretty distinguishable. I don't want to see anybody crawling under their chair, because it wouldn't be like way under the chair. So if you have it, you know you have it. So come see me, and I'll give you that copy. But the movie was awesome. It was amazing. It was a precursor to today. And today is a day where we're going to start talking about this topic from a biblical standpoint. You've heard it plenty of times through the worldly standpoint. And then at the end of the message, we're going to have the praise band come back up, and they're going to sing a couple more songs. And during the second song, while we're doing that second song, I decided that we would open up the front and we would ask that you, in an act of peace, an act of prayerful reflection, would come down and pray for the people of Ukraine and Russia as we are witnessing what we're witnessing in the news across the globe with this war. So we want to give a chance for you to also pray for that and any other things that might come up, personal, etc. So we want to give that invitation to you. So you're welcome to do that when we do the second song. But you know, I started thinking about this. Coca-Cola, It's the Real Thing, was a campaign where they were consolidating the vast swath of changes being made to the brand as it was entering the 1970s. And I don't know if you were around then with the song, "Oh, I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony." You remember that song? Have you? And you know, you're given a Coke, you know. It was a big, huge campaign move. The manager then, Ira Herbert, heralded this as a new direction for the company because they had put some research out, and they wanted to respond to the research that showed that young people were desperately seeking the real, the original, and the natural as a way to escape from the phonies of life. Today, throughout this country, there's going to be a host of people like us who are going to gather, worship. They'll gather in their classes, in their small groups, in their homes, and the chances of this topic, heaven, coming up are rare to none. But heaven has become a very popular topic apart from the Bible and the church. It's actually one of the most talked about topics in the secular world to date. And this topic of heaven is a very popular topic because, the amount of books that we have on it, the amount of movies, the events of the world gone mad, which is begging the question that we're searching for peace and tranquility for this utopian life where there's no more warfare or problems. If we just watch these events that are unfolding right in front of our eyes, we see all of this craziness going on. There's all kinds of unrest in many ways. I could go on about all of that, but what we're noticing, we cannot live in a bubble any longer and be oblivious to these events that are happening in our world. We can't help but think and desire heaven on earth. But without having a biblical view of heaven, we can be led astray and we'll lack the knowledge and wisdom of heaven, the real thing. Now, if you've ever read the book, The Purpose-Driven Life, maybe you have read that this life now is a preparation for eternity. And you cannot achieve heaven here on earth. So planning for eternity can help us live in the present, keep our focus on our purposes that God's created us for as we are journeying towards our homeland, heaven, the real thing. It becomes pretty critical to this faith journey we're on. So, will I go to heaven? Have you ever thought of that question? It becomes personal. Am I going to go to heaven when I hit that eternal elevator? Is it going up? There's only one way. It's going to go up. There was a pastor one Sunday who was preaching on this topic, actually, and he was looking out at his congregation, and he said, "Now, how many of you want to go to heaven tonight?" And everybody raised their hand but this little boy in the back. So he thought, So he thought he'd try it again. "Now, how many of you want to go to heaven right now?" And everybody raised their hand. except that one boy. So he ran into the boy after the service, and he said, "Hey, son, why, don't you want to go to heaven?" The little boy said, "Well, yeah, I do. I got it thinking about it. I want to go someday, but I kind of thought you were getting a load up right now." Now, last I checked, everybody wants to go to heaven, but not all people know the right way to get there, because there's a lot of roads that point to heaven, but there's only one that will really get you there. And let me read you this text about the road that'll get you there. Have you ever been on a backcountry road? A backcountry dirt road? You knew it was the only route to get you. It wasn't the highway, it wasn't a bypass, it was this backcountry road. And so when we look at this today, I want to read to you Matthew 7, verses 13 through 14 as a way to think about, first and foremost, how we get there. Jesus says, "Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate, narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it." So we're going to talk about today, there have been just a handful of people who have experienced what I'm going to describe to you, and the Bible describes to you as the third heaven, as we are going to be talking about that. According to a poll, 82% of Americans believe in heaven, and 63% expect to go there. But you know what? There's about 3 people that'll die every second. 180 people will die a minute. About 11,000 people die every hour. And now that there's war, those numbers are increasing. So the Bible's right when you have nearly 250,000 people that are either going up or going down on the eternal elevator. Now, I have to think that out of those people, that 63%, who've based their thinking maybe on what the world has said heaven is going to be like and how you can get there. Now, the problem with the church today is that we've allowed the world to pour into us its mold of what heaven is and how we get there. Just think of some of the things that you are more comfortable with today than, say, 20 years ago, and you wouldn't have been as comfortable. In every George Barna Gallup poll that has ever been conducted, it's shown that there's hardly any difference. You can tell hardly any difference between the morals and the lifestyles of those who are Christians and those who are non-Christians. And I really believe this could point to the absence of the teaching and preaching on this topic of heaven. And I really believe that if we want to have revival in the Christian community, in our church, in this community, we need to start focusing on heaven. We need to start learning more about it, preaching about it. I really believe that the language on heaven on earth is revival language. I believe that heaven language on earth is about bringing unity, bringing togetherness, coming together for a common mission and cause and purpose. So, in a vital lesson, and one of the major purposes of this series is because as I tackle this topic, I realize that as we talk about heaven, it usually brings more questions than answers, right? As we start thinking about this place that we are calling home, we're calling heaven. But really the purpose of this series is to help us understand and to come to the grips with a consistent truth that runs throughout the entire Bible. What you think about heaven, what you believe about heaven, is going to determine how you're actually living out your life today. I mean, if you really got a full glimpse, a full experience of heaven, would it not change your life? Would it not change the way you are living right now? So what you think about it, what you believe about this, it's going to determine how you live today. Now, in our hearts, there's this continual hunger for eternity. There's a compass that's been set within us, and our gaze is towards this heavenly bliss. Heaven is kind of like a cord with an anchor on it, and it's pulling us towards it. It can become a stabilizing influence in our life.